welcome back, everyone, to the Just One More Level podcast. I am your co-host, Christian.
And I am your co-host, John.
And this week, we're doing things just a little bit differently, okay? This week, we, instead of, doing our normal thing, we play the same game, we talk about it, we decide whether it's worth playing just one more level or not. We're still going to do that, but we play different games, and we're just kind of having a conversation with the other person about it. It's a little bit more reviewy because some of these games we may have played a lot more than an hour or two of, but I still wouldn't call them reviews. It's more just having a conversation between the two of us, and maybe if the other person hasn't played it, maybe trying to convince them whether they would play just one more level or whatever. It's growing.
It's what it is.
It's yeah, whatever. Like, it just is what it is. We don't really know exactly what it's going to end up being, but it's changing. It's becoming its own thing. The format is to be determined exactly. But we're just here to talk about some video games. That's what we're.
It's also
that's what we're doing.
a little bit easier for us to make content for you guys, to make consistent content for you guys, because Christian and I, of course, have very busy lives. That is the entire idea behind the premise, is that we have very busy lives. So, we can't waste our time to play a whole bunch of games all the time, so whether or not a game is worth just one more level of our time is kind of a big deal to us. So we like to it's going to be a little bit easier for us to coordinate the episodes if we can just play whatever game is available for us to play, and it'll get a little bit more consistent as for the content. You know what I mean? And a little bit more relaxed for you guys too. It's going to be a little bit easier, and we find that you guys like what we have to say and the content in general when we're just a little bit more relaxed and we're having fun. And that's what it's all about.
That's what it's all about. But yeah, so this week, John, I've been playing a little bit of Kingdom Hearts Melody of Memories. Kingdom Hearts Melody of Memories, it's a rhythm game set in the Kingdom Hearts universe. Obviously, I mean, it's right there in the name. It's a little... So, you've played some of the Kingdom Hearts games, right?
Yes.
But you've never like beaten any of them or anything?
No. Just the just the first one, what we played for the podcast is pretty much all I've done.
Okay. So yeah, it's very different from the other ones, obviously, because it is a rhythm game, right? And so instead of, an RPG where you're going in and you're fighting monsters and exploring these worlds, collecting items, getting your levels up, all of that stuff's gone for the most part. Instead, you're traveling from world to world, and each world has one or two songs that was, in some way intertwined with that world. Like when you go to, I don't know, we're in Halloween Town in the video when we're streaming this live on Twitch. So it has like the music from Halloween Town that was in the game is what you're playing in this world, this level here or whatever, right? And so the music's playing in the background, and you're pressing just the main attack button, quote unquote, is the right button. I think that's A on the Nintendo Switch. That's what I played it on. And then you can also use R and L to attack, because there's multi-attacks, right? Sometimes you're just attacking one thing with one character, but sometimes you'll have to attack two things at the same time. So you'll have to press like L and R at the same time, or A and R at the same time. Any combination of those three buttons will work, as long as it's two of them. Other times you'll have to hit three things at the same time. So you have to press A, L, and R. And of course, it's a rhythm game, so you get more points the more accurate you are with it, the closer to perfect to the beat that you get it. And then they also throw a little bit of a curveball in. Every once in a while, there will be a triangle to unleash a special ability with whoever the main character of your party of three is. And so then they throw that in there at you. Sometimes they'll mix it up a little bit too, and you'll have to press triangle along with the A, L, or R button.
Wow.
I know, we're getting crazy.
We are getting crazy, actually.
The only other thing you can do in the main part of the game, like the main story mode as you're going through, you can also jump. So you have your B button for jump, and then you can glide by pressing and holding B. And there are some sections where you have to glide and collect things as you go along. And then sometimes you'll have to glide and also use the other buttons to attack things on the ground with your two other party members. It's a rhythm game, but unlike, like a Guitar Hero or something like that, there's actually a lot to it, which I really appreciate. I enjoy the Guitar Hero and Rock Band games. I love those games. But I find that this one is much more enjoyable from a gameplay perspective than those ones are, maybe. Whereas kind of the point of Guitar Hero and Rock Band is to enjoy your music, you're listening to music you enjoy and you're just
Right.
kind of playing along with it, enjoying the music as you go. This one
Uh-huh.
here is a little more gameplay focused.
Yeah. I
With
can see
that
that.
said,
You
though,
you have levels. You're gaining
yes,
XP.
because I'll get there. I'll get there.
Okay.
So to go along with that, though, the music is amazing. The
Yeah.
Kingdom Hearts series
Okay.
is long. There's a lot of entries in the series, of course,
Mhm.
and Square Enix makes some wonderful music. So
Mhm.
the music is at least enjoyable for the most part, and it's kind of nice to be able to just listen to these songs on their own,
Okay.
which is fun. It's a little bit different, because normally when you're playing a game, the music's there and maybe you'll hum along with it a little bit or whatever, or if it's like a simple and clean or something, is a big one from Kingdom Hearts where it's like plays when cutscenes are going and whatnot. Maybe you'll notice it a little bit more, but usually you're a
Okay.
little too focused on the gameplay to really get any of the music, whereas the music is kind of front and center here. So that's also nice. Um,
Right.
but yes, okay.
Right.
So,
So
there's also
you
boss fights, right? Boss
wow.
fights
Okay.
are still handled through the same button combinations that I said, but they also throw in the sticks. So sometimes you'll have to press the left stick up, the right stick down, sometimes at the same time, or any combination of the directions there.
Oh,
They
there's
also
even
throw that
enemies
in.
that take multiple hits.
Multiple hits, yep.
Yeah.
And like I
It's
said,
just
there's
different
there's a lot
presses of
of
the
depth
buttons.
to it. The
Yeah.
only there's actually still two more modes that there are. There's only one more in the story mode, and that is the memory events or whatever they call them. I don't remember. It plays the same as these combat ones, the standard one, but
Mhm.
instead of you fighting, there's a cutscene from one of the games playing in the background, and you're just flying along, hitting buttons to like little orbs. Oddly enough, they still deal damage to you because every time you miss an orb or an enemy or whatever, you get attacked. You run into the orb, whatever the case may be, and you can die. You can game over. And of course,
Okay.
every time you kill these things and you get a high score and then you beat the level, you gain experience points. So your party
Mhm.
actually levels up. And you can
Wow.
collect items and you can use those items to synthesize things like you can in the game. Now, the items you synthesize here, some of them are your potions and things like that, which will automatically trigger if you get too low on health. Um, some make it more likely that you'll get item drops or whatever. Some are
Okay.
new music tracks for you to play in the free play mode, things like that. Like
Okay.
there's a lot of depth to the game, and it's actually really interesting.
Okay. It sounds and looks very interesting, that's for sure. Like I have never seen a rhythm game like this where
Right,
your character is
right,
fully realized and fighting, doing things on the
right. Yeah,
screen, like running around in an environments, fighting enemies. It's almost like a sort of game of quick time events, but like
almost
with like rhythm and instead, you
with
know?
rhythm and much more precise timing. I would say too
Right.
than most
Sure. Right. Of course. Right.
quick
Being a
time
rhythm
events, at
game.
least. Yeah.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. I mean,
That's really,
so
really
like,
cool.
and as far as the actual gameplay mode goes, it's kind of neat how that goes too, because this game takes place after Kingdom Hearts 3, and your Kairi is the I guess the main protagonist of this game.
Okay.
You're going down like memory lane with her, and she's narrating the experience as you go along, and
So
every
she's
time.
the girl from the beach in the first game that we played,
Yes.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
And as you go through the game, you'll find some worlds after you clear all the songs in it. You'll unlock a cutscene, and that cutscene, for the most part, is just kind of reiterating something that happened previously. So like you'll have one section of the game where all the worlds are related to Kingdom Hearts 1, so you'll unlock like 3 or 4 cutscenes chronicling the game, or the story of Kingdom Hearts 1. And then you'll move on
Okay.
to like Kingdom Hearts Rechain of Memories, and then
Kind of like
2 and Birth by Sleep, etc., kind of retelling the story.
Lego Star Wars. Yeah, just
Uh,
little snippets,
yeah, sure.
little
Kind of.
chapters of
I
the
was a
main
little
story.
iffy, honestly, about where you were going with that.
Where I'm going
Oh,
with that?
yeah.
No.
Just real
Yeah.
quick because it's on screen.
Yeah.
This is the last mode. This is performance mode. I have no fucking
Mhm.
idea how it works. Button prompts appear on screen, but they don't tell you when to actually hit the button. And normally I use the ZL and ZR buttons because I find that a little bit more comfortable to hold than the R and L buttons as my secondary attacks. That doesn't seem
Okay.
to work in this mode at all. You just you can't
Wow.
use those buttons. And I think it's because some of the performance things that pop up specifically say ZR and ZL. So
Right.
yeah, that mode
Okay.
not for me. Don't know how it works. I'm sure it's cool, but I can't understand it, so I fucked off of that real quick. But
Okay.
anyways, back to the story though. So then you're playing through all these worlds of the previous games and stuff, and I haven't made it to the end yet. I'm really close to the end. I probably only have like an hour left of it, but apparently there is new lore at the end of this game for the overall Kingdom Hearts storyline, which is one of the problems with Kingdom Hearts as a whole. Honestly,
because who's gonna make it all the way through this game?
Exactly, you know, unless you're a big rhythm game fan or a huge Kingdom Hearts fan.
Right.
Which I feel like there's probably not a ton of overlap of Kingdom Hearts people that also love rhythm games. I'm sure there's some.
Exactly, yeah.
I'm here, but like there can't be that many of them. And in that case, of course, you could just look up the new lore on YouTube or whatever. But I'm excited to see what it is because apparently it takes place right after the DLC for Kingdom Hearts 3, and it's from Kairi's perspective. So I want to know what the hell it is. The trailer for Kingdom Hearts 4 has come out, and they're in this entirely new area, and it's just like, I don't know. Kairi and Sora separated again. It's this whole thing. I just want to know, man. I need this lore. I need this drop. And thankfully, the gameplay is pretty fun to go along with it. I have to ask, though, like, you mentioned not seeing any other rhythm games like this. What rhythm games have you played, if any, other than Rock Band and Guitar Hero, obviously?
I have played a little bit of Hatsune Miku.
Okay.
Which, if anybody doesn't know, is a rhythm game based off of a Vocaloid. And if you don't know what a Vocaloid is, allow me to poorly explain. It's a fictional character that is sometimes represented as an anime character, sometimes represented as a hologram in live performances. And people write music, and then they have a computer program that simulates human vocal speaking. And they use this Vocaloid program to simulate singing the lyrics of the songs that they write. And it's known for its very precise style, you know, because as a Vocaloid, obviously they can sing and articulate impossible rhythms that humans cannot. Right? At least that's what it sounds like for me.
I'm sure there's some crazy ass person out there that can sing just like a Vocaloid does, but
that's fair. I mean, I have
got to be some madman out there.
There was the Pentatonics acapella group. They did a Daft Punk cover.
They did.
Yeah,
this is true.
So they did. Yeah, they did all vocal performances of electronic
YouTube videos of people just doing crazy like dubstep things and whatnot too, strictly with their voices and things like which is just I don't understand how that's possible, but people do it. So like I'm sure someone out there,
that is
someone.
True. But anyway, my friend Craig, shout out to Craig, is fan of Hatsune Miku. So I've seen a few of those games, and I've played a couple of them. I know I've played the first one. I believe the first one. Fun fact, everybody, Nyan Cat, classic YouTube Pop-Tart cat sensation, Nyan Cat, Hatsune Miku song.
Oh, very nice. So I haven't, is where I was getting to, really played any other rhythm games outside of this.
Yeah, and there's one that my friend Nick showed to me. I'm sorry, it was previously the most unique rhythm game I had seen. Because of course you have your Guitar Hero Rock Band, and then
which
you
over here in the West is probably the most popular rhythm game out there.
And then
for sure.
Hatsune Miku type is a little closer to this. There's in the sense that there's not an instrument that you're emulating. There's just prompts on the screen that you press with the buttons on the controller. And this next game that I was talking about is a bananas game that my friend Nick showed me that I've seen only one other time. I saw a meme, like a video of somebody failing at it, like they did this perfect impossible run, and it's like with a trackpad. You use like your mouse and draw these like you draw these like lines on the screen. So you have to hit the circles, like the prompts that connect the lines with buttons on your keyboard, and then you have to draw the lines with your mouse. And he was he was going crazy with it. It was just a bunch of geometric patterns. But my friend Nick, shout out to Nick. He's not going to see this. He's he's my most pretentious friend that I've been friends with since high school. He lives like a very progressive lifestyle in the big city, and he just does like a better he just does like a slightly better version of everything that you do. Not you specifically, but just anyone that he happens to be
me
talking
specifically.
to.
I understand. Yeah, no, it's fine. It's fine.
Yeah, no, he just he always has some weird specific thing to brag about, right? So when Craig is introducing me and him to Hatsune Miku and how much he loves that game, Nick's like, "Oh, this game is nothing. That you should play this rhythm this nonsense math rhythm game." This is the new Taker. This is the new one. This is the new, most unique, most interesting rhythm game that I have ever seen.
Again,
I just can't get over the fighting, like the actual characters fighting.
It's really cool. But like, I wonder, I imagine there has to be more rhythm games in this style, because Square Enix themselves have made other rhythm games with like, I don't know how to pronounce the names, like Theater Rhythm, Theatrium. I don't know how you pronounce it. They've made other rhythm games, and in that series that have released over here. There's like classic PS1 titles like Parappa the Rappa, Jammer Lammy, stuff like that, which I don't think really have like combat, but there's those.
DDR.
And then there's the DDR, for dancing. And then there's the newer like indie one that's super popular. It looks kind of like DDR with the arrows flying up the screen, but you play with like your D-pad or keyboard or whatever, not with a dance pad. And people are like rapping back and forth. It's Parappa the Rapper like in that case. But it's absolutely crazy. It has this weird ass storyline. I think Matt Pat the Game Theorist, I'm pretty sure, did a video or two on it at some point. Anyways, my point is, like, this game has made me want to try more rhythm games because it's pretty fun. Like, generally speaking, I would say most of them are probably lore light. Even this game is just re-explaining the lore of other games until the end, apparently.
Right.
But I know some of them have some lore, and I'm a sucker for lore and a good story.
Oh, absolutely, like especially when it's hidden.
I'm trying to think of like negatives for this
I have a
game,
question.
Right? Yeah, no, by all means, man, ask away.
So you said the characters are kind of re-exploring the past games.
Yeah. Yes.
So is this all gimmick, or are the characters aware that they're running on a giant musical?
No. You're replaying things from Kairi's memory, right? Like I was mentioned earlier. This is all Kairi's memory, and she's explaining kind of what happened in the past with all these characters and things.
Kairi's memory is augmented with musical notes and a giant
it's a video game.
A giant musical sidewalk that you can run on.
It's just a video game. These characters aren't real. These are just Kairi's friends.
I was just curious. Okay? Like, I was curious as to whether or not there was like some mention of it in the story. You know what I mean? Like, you didn't mention it, but I didn't know if there was like a little bit of like oh, you know how in Crash Bash, right at the beginning of Crash Bash, you don't remember this, I'm sure, but at the beginning of Crash Bash, the Hunamaga mask and the evil version of that unites all of the characters together, and then they say, we're gonna play a tournament, and whoever wins the tournament gets all the cookies. I don't remember
all the cookies.
I don't remember what the stakes were, but you know what I mean? There was like a gimmick at the beginning of the game that explains why they were in this scenario.
Jonathan, I'll just forgive you because you haven't played many Kingdom Hearts games.
Okay.
Kingdom Hearts, while it's a very funny thing to think about, right? Like these Square Enix Final Fantasy characters and you know, new original characters in the style of Final Fantasy games and stuff like that, crossed with Disney stuff. Whoa, so wacky, so funny or whatever. They take themselves very seriously.
Wow. Okay.
There's funny moments and things like that, but there is only one moment like what you're talking about I can think of, and that's where because leading up to Kingdom Hearts 3, right, you had Kingdom Hearts 1.5 HD Remix. And then you had, and that was like a compilation of a few games. Then you had HD 2.5 HD Remix, which was a combo pack of the other games that weren't in 1.5. And then they released a tech demo / game, Kingdom Hearts 2.8. Right?
2.8
2.8 leading up to it, which was a tech demo of what they were doing, like the technology they were using to make Kingdom Hearts 3, but also with new unique story elements.
Similar to Final Fantasy 15?
No.
Is that what you were talking about? I remember you telling
Final
me that,
Fantasy 15 was originally meant to play like a Kingdom Hearts game.
Oh, I see. Okay.
And then Kingdom Hearts 4 looks very similar to what Kingdom Hearts 4 looks very similar to what Final Fantasy 15 is. Man, I need you to keep up here. Do you have like a notepad? Maybe you can write some things down real quick. Anyways, no. So, Kingdom Hearts 3 starts, right? And you play through the whole intro sequence and everything. And before the Kingdom Hearts 3 like thing pops up and it's like, "Hey, you're in the game now. Woo, whatever." Before you get to that point, once you start exploring, Kingdom Hearts 2.9 comes up on the screen. So like the characters don't acknowledge that. No, I swear to God, like, the characters don't acknowledge it at all. But it was kind of like a sly thing from the developers being like, yeah, we know. We realize that you guys are getting a little annoyed with all these side games or whatever.
Right. Yeah.
Like, but that's the only moment like what you're describing I can think of in the Kingdom Hearts titles.
Okay.
Anyways, yeah, no, they don't at all. And anyway, say like, oh, look at these characters.
It's not like they have to.
This thing here.
Yeah, like I was just curious if.
Yeah.
If that was a part of it, you know.
I'm trying to think of negatives because I really enjoy the game, but I don't think it's a perfect game. But I don't really know why I don't think it's a perfect game, because the only negative I can think of off the top of my head. No, because they actually, every level has 3 difficulties that you can play on.
Right.
So you can play like easy, normal, proud. I'm sure they have proper terminology for that, but I can't remember the 3 things off the top of my head.
Are they like Guitar Hero? You have to unlock the harder difficulties, or are they all immediately?
I don't know. Maybe if after you beat the game, if maybe it unlocks an even harder difficulty. I don't know about that.
Okay.
But no, just all available from the get-go, and you can change the difficulty per song. So if one song you're going through story mode and one song's a little too hard for you, you can step it down. And they even give you a number. The number system I don't think is perfect, but they give you a number telling you roughly how hard this song is going to be in whatever difficulty you're playing.
Yeah.
So as you change the difficulties, you can see the number jumping up to from like 10 to 14 or something like that.
Right.
So you can kind of like gauge your skill level.
I'm sorry. Yeah, but I think that's similar to Hatsune Miku. Excuse me, is what I was going to say. I'm pretty sure they did something similar to that, but also like Guitar Hero. Like I think some things were guarded by difficulty. But
I don't think that's necessarily.
They did tell you how hard the song was going to be, though, which is nice, because Guitar Hero, because they just get harder as you go. But it's nice.
I mean, Guitar Hero does have the star system to tell you how hard each individual song is, but they don't necessarily tell you how hard it is per difficulty.
Right.
In Guitar Hero, you just expect that it'll increase in difficulty linearly. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. The further you go along, the harder the songs are going to get.
Right. Whereas, like in this game, you're not following a particular instrument. You're just following either a rhythm, or sometimes it will be like a particular instrument, but that'll change like halfway through the song or something like that. Or maybe instead of it being a particular instrument, it'll be this whole ensemble. Maybe it'll be like the main part, maybe it'll be the background ensemble, whatever. But you'll be focused on different things, and that changes throughout the song.
I like that, though. I've always been a
nice
fan.
Yeah.
Of when of what's called Mickey Mousing, which is matching up the action to the music.
Yes, which is very much what they try to do with like the combat here.
Yeah.
Even the jumps for the most part, I would say the jumps aren't timed as perfectly as everything else in my experience, but like even the jumps to jump up and attack an enemy or something like that, you'll generally like jump to part of the rhythm and then attack a beat later or whatever.
Nice.
Which is,
it's really cool. Well, for nerds like us, Christian, I think this game is perfect. And even though I haven't played it, I would play just one more level.
I for sure. I mean, like I said, I'm going to beat it. I'm almost at the end of it. The only other negatives, though, before we get out of here with this game and move on to yours, with rhythm games, obviously, being able to match up your actions to the beat is very important. They do have a little slider, so you can change the song to play like, here's the problem. They have a slider, but they don't tell you if it's measured in like milliseconds. Is it measured in quarter seconds? Is it measured in I don't know. All I know is there's a slider that goes from -15 to 15, and you can move it to try to line up things better so that your button presses line up with the beat better. Whenever you're
Okay.
playing on the Switch itself, no big deal. You just leave it on 0. But as soon as I plug it into like my capture card thing that I got going on here, I could not find a proper setting to line it up.
Wow.
Whenever I use like Bluetooth headphones with my Switch or something like that, it's very hard to find a thing to line it up. It would be nice if they had some sort of system like how modern Rock Band games have, where the game can figure out the latency for you. That would be cool. Yeah. I would really appreciate that.
I feel like Guitar Hero even had some kind of latency testing thing back in the day.
I haven't played
similar
Guitar
to
Hero
how,
in so long.
Yeah, similar to how like smart boards back in the day, how you could like reorient, like it would come up and you could like strum, I think, to like orient the rhythm to make sure
that's the fallback method for the newest Rock Band, at least.
Okay.
And I think that was the method for Rock Band 1, maybe 2 as well.
Yeah.
But they had the benefit with Rock Band for the guitar that they had, they put in a microphone and a light sensor into it. So you can just hold the microphone up near the TV and it listens to the beat and measures the latency for you. And then you can just point the guitar at the TV and the TV will flash a bright white light to a beat. And so it's able to measure the latency for the visuals there as well. Balance it all out for you, which is
awesome.
Nice. Obviously, they couldn't do that here, but they could have done the, like you said, like a metronome sort of thing, you know, like having a metronome play and then you just tap along to it, and then it could have measured the rough latency there. They don't have that. That would have been nice. The only other, I guess, downside that I can think of to the game is some of the levels are very bright, especially like boss levels. You know, there will be magic, a lot of things will be happening on screen. Sometimes it can be hard to follow the button presses that you're supposed to be doing. Especially, there was a memory sequence that I was playing just not too long ago, and the background, the cutscene was very yellow, and a lot of the button prompts telling you when to hit the button are yellow. So it's very hard to see when I actually need to press the button. So I think maybe they could have done a little something with that. The busyness, though, kind of adds to the game because it seems much more impressive, right? To even to yourself, whenever you're playing it, it's like there's so much shit going on, but I'm getting all these excellence popping up, and it feels so good or whatever. But I think they needed like a little bit of a higher contrast color or something like that. I would hate to be somebody that's colorblind trying to play along.
I think it's a monkey brain thing. But they're using colorblind neutral colors, as far as I can tell. They're using cyan, amber. Those are colorblind neutral colors.
Okay. I mean that's nice, but I mean still when you have yellow on yellow, it becomes a bit.
It does. Like different shades of yellow, even.
Yeah.
Just in general. Even if you're not,
and that's what I mean. For me, it was rough, and I have to imagine that it'd be worse for somebody that has some level of color blindness.
I don't think any of this is going to teeter on it, but potentially photosensitivity. People that have photosensitivity,
possibly.
If it's,
I don't.
If it's too bright and too busy,
right?
But that's just
I wonder
kind of a risk with video games in general. I believe people with
Very
photosensitivity just kind of realize that, and I know they invent certain things. I know they have like glasses that reduce it, and
you play in a well lit room instead of playing in a dark room. If a game has the option, you can turn down the frame rate because frame rate actually plays a large role in triggering photo sensitive epilepsy. Turning down your overall brightness on the screen. Yeah, there's a lot of different things you can do for that.
The thing with Amber, she doesn't have epilepsy, but she gets migraines. And she has photosensitive migraines. So
migraines, yeah.
She does. She always gripes about it, of course, when we're watching a movie or a show or something like that, or even a YouTube video, and they don't put a photosensitive warning, which is nice because Amber and I love to watch a lot of horror. So horror is meant to be disorienting, of course, and a big thing that's disorienting is strobing light. So a lot of horror movies love to use strobing light to make a scene more disorienting or more intense. And that's something that YouTube creator James A. Janice of Dead Meat, I watch his content all the time, the kill count. He always gives a big warning when there's photosensitive spots.
That's nice. As you should, honestly.
Yeah. And if
you're gonna go through the trouble of editing a whole video like that anyways, why not just throw up a warning real quick? Like it takes next to no extra time. And it could literally save someone's life, potentially.
Yeah, and it's really nice the way he does it, too, because he does put a lot of time into it. He plays a tone, and he lets you know that you're going to hear that tone when it's...
So if you're, like, closing your eyes or looking away or something like that. Yeah, that's nice. That's nice. I like that.
Yeah, it is pretty nice.
As far as Kingdom Hearts Melody of Memories go, though, do you have any other questions about it before we wrap up? I mean,
No, I mean
it's
I mean as impressive and complicated as it actually is, not maybe not complicated, complex as it actually is, it's pretty straightforward in
yeah,
concept
honestly, that's the
to
thing. The
explain.
main game
Yeah,
thing, like, there's some systems in the
right. Yeah, it's
background,
a
but
rhythm
most
game.
of them just don't matter. At the end of the
Right.
day, it's a rhythm game. It's pretty easy
Sure.
to understand. Listen to some
Yeah.
kick-ass video game tunes and tap
Right.
along to the music
Oh, that
and
was my
get some
only other
cool
question.
special
I
effects.
noticed when you closed the one level, you were in Halloween Town and you were
Yeah,
playing This Is Halloween. So were you playing the song from the movie? Is it actual songs, or like you said it was from the soundtracks of the games?
yeah, it's from the soundtracks of the games. It's all, the Kingdom Hearts original stuff. As far as I'm aware, just trying to think back, I don't think they ripped anything straight from the Disney films, but there
Okay.
are like the Kingdom Hearts remixes or the Kingdom Hearts edits of some of those songs and things in here.
Okay.
There is
Okay.
that, but I'm pretty
Close enough
sure it's
to be
all like the quote unquote original Kingdom Hearts music.
right. Okay.
Um, if I were to give the game a rating, do not under any circumstances take any ratings we give on this show or that we ever give seriously because yeah.
Hmm.
But I don't know, man. Like I struggle to think of what's actually wrong with the game, but I guess I'd say like 4 out of 5, maybe 4.5 if I'm feeling generous. Like it's mechanically it just works so well and it's fun to play, but there's
Yeah.
something about the game that just I don't know that it's not quite perfect. I don't think it deserves that perfect 5 uh level rating, or whatever. It's
Maybe
just
it's your maybe it's your inclination as a fan of Square Enix to
or just
criticize.
Kingdom Hearts in general.
Right.
Yeah, maybe,
Kingdom
maybe.
Hearts to just wait, this isn't the same, because
Right.
that's a big
Well,
complaint
that
with all of their games, right? Final
and
Fantasy,
there
Kingdom Hearts. Wait,
there
this
is
one isn't like the old ones.
there is one thing I guess I could say is that for a fan like me who has played all the games and has lived in this lore for years,
Uh-huh.
re-watching cutscenes from all the other games, while it is a nice trip down memory lane sometimes, I've played most of these games within the past 5 years. So it's like I know
Right.
what's happening here. Can we just get on to the next point? Like my
It'd
whole
be
point in
nice
playing this
for
game is basically just to
me.
get that new lore at the end. For someone like you, yeah, I do think it would be nice as a very quick, short refresher for what was kind of going on or to fill in maybe some gaps, but it
Right.
doesn't go it doesn't go super into detail to anything either, so I don't know how useful for someone like you it would really be. You would
Gotcha.
understand more of the series for sure, but you wouldn't know everything, so how helpful is it really? Like,
Mhm.
I don't know, but yeah, I guess
Fair.
I'd give it like 4.5 uh out of
Four, four and a
5.
half out of five.
Yeah, it's better
Okay.
than average, but it's not perfect. It's
Okay.
yeah, it's a fun game. It's a
Great.
fun game.
All
Real
right.
quick before we move on to John's game, guys, which is going to happen in just
Yeah.
a few minutes, here's
Uh-huh.
a word from our sponsors. Except we don't have any on podcast platforms, so really it's just a
Mhm.
chance for us to take an ad break on Twitch.
Yeah.
And for everyone that's using an ad blocker or is subscribed on Twitch or listening on our podcast platforms, you get
Mhm.
to hear all of this BS unless John feels like cutting it out whenever he does the
I
editing.
um sure. I don't How long do we have? I don't know how long our ad breaks are
3
anymore.
minutes. 3
3
minutes is
minutes.
how
Okay.
long of a break we take. Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. So we'll be right back after these messages. Oh,
Yeah.
33. So 36. Okay. Fu Manchu. Fuck me. I need a drink, baby. Here we go.
You gotta you
Give me
gotta have
that
that drink right
water.
next to you before you start, man. Gotta have it
I
all
did.
prepared. I got
I
I
drank
got
it
my
all.
drink sitting right here. I got
I
you
did have it.
drank it all.
I drank actually my
uh,
mug of tea and Amber's mug
nice,
of tea
nice.
because she
And
fell
Amber's mug of
asleep.
tea. Just completely
And
stole her mug of tea.
now I'm
Oh, she's
drinking her
asleep
water.
though. I guess that's fine.
She
Jonathan,
is
how
asleep.
would you
And she
how
told
would
me
you
that.
rate never
Yeah.
having played the game, how would you rate
Mhm.
Kingdom Hearts Melody of Memories? Completely disregard my rating here. I'm just curious, like just seeing
It
it yourself.
seems like a solid 3 out of 5.
3 out of 5, pretty average game
Pretty average.
there. Yeah,
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say and guess not a great Kingdom Hearts game, and also not a
sure.
great rhythm game. So
Okay,
maybe that
okay.
is like maybe that's why it's in this kind of uncanny valley for you, and you don't want to say that it's a good game because it's like it's not a great rhythm game, and it's also not your favorite Kingdom Hearts game. So it's like fan fiction. You're like,
Yeah, I
eh,
gotcha.
this is adjacent to what I love, but not quite. So
I
maybe
would
there's
say,
kind of a disconnect in
since
your
it's the
brain.
only rhythm game that's not Guitar Hero Rock Band I've ever played, I
True.
would say it's an excellent rhythm game, but I'm
Yeah.
comparing that to nothing. So, you know what I mean? So, like,
Yes.
for all I know, it could actually be shit. That's perfectly that's perfectly reasonable to believe.
I mean,
But
it certainly doesn't look like it. It looks like you said very fast, very responsive. It looks like it's entertaining
oh
because
yeah,
you
for
have
sure.
so many animations and things that you can do
There does
when you're
seem
going you're rhythming. You're
every
not
once
just
in a while
rhythming.
there does seem to be small frame rate issues, but I think that's unique to the Switch. I highly doubt you would have that issue if you were playing this on, PC or PS4 or Xbox or something like
Yeah.
that.
Switch is
Um,
a bit of an underpowered console for
yeah,
this current
yeah.
generation. So
Which at the same time though, I think the Switch is the best machine to play it on because it's a
yeah.
great play one or two level, turn it off type of game because each song, only takes a few minutes and then you can turn it off. So if you're just like on a commute to work, or for me it's like my lunch break at work or whatever, I can play, 4 or 5 songs, turn it off and then go back to work.
Right.
So like
That's fair.
on the one hand, it's the best machine to play it on, but it
Mhm.
also is the worst. It's a little it's a little odd.
Right.
I'm giving a fly through here for people on Twitch. Maybe it'll make it into YouTube so you can see just how many levels there are too. The game
Mhm.
is expansive. And each one of those
It
little
is
world
huge.
orb things has at
Yeah.
least one, sometimes two songs. Um like
Jesus Christ.
there's a lot.
Goodness gracious sakes alive. It just keeps fucking going.
I'm curious what the price of it is right now. I'm gonna go ahead and look that up real quick.
What's that at the end? It's a cataclysm.
Yeah, I haven't made it there yet. I don't know. That must be
Oh,
that
they're
must
all
be
like
like
that unless
her.
you unlock it. Okay.
Well, yeah, they're all like a little bit darker, but you can still kind of tell what some of the worlds are whenever they're
Yeah.
darkened. But at the
Okay.
end, yeah, I have no idea what that is. But okay, on Nintendo Switch from Amazon, $24.99 is what it's
Hmm.
currently at. So it's not that
Okay.
expensive of a game either. It's not too
Ooh.
bad. Not too bad.
Streamception.
Oh
Hello
no, not
everyone.
The
We're back.
Sims.
Hello everyone.
Hi.
We're back from our ad break. And
This is The Sims apparently now.
this is The Sims.
It just
Hello, The Sims.
went switched on like perfect timing. I didn't even have it switched. That just did it on its own. That was
Perfect. We're back,
anyways.
everyone. With this, we're professionals. That's all. That's all it is. No, no, no. We're professionals, and we did this. We know what
On
we're doing.
purpose.
On
Right on
purpose.
cue. The
Exactly.
Sims, PlayStation 2.
All right. So,
So yeah, Jonathan, what did you play this week? I mean, we already know, but what did you play this week?
Christian, this week I played The Sims on PlayStation 2.
Why
And
the PlayStation 2 version? I just want to ask that right out the front. Just why the PlayStation
I
2 version?
just happened to pick it up recently from the
You own it.
exchange. I
That's the
own it.
one you own. That's
That
that's
is the
a
one that I
good
own.
enough reason. That
Mhm.
that makes perfect sense. Because it's
Yeah.
just like when I think of The Sims, I don't really think of
You
like
think
a
PC.
PlayStation 2 game. I think of a PC game.
Yeah.
Exactly.
See,
Full
that's the
disclosure, I
thing.
have played The Sims, this one that he's playing, but still.
Yes. Um, that is how we have footage of it. Actually, Christian had footage
Oh
from
yeah,
an
yeah.
earlier
Which actually
playthrough.
reminds me, speaking of being professionals, I need to cut out the background while you're talking. So tell us a
Okay.
little bit about the game you played, though. Did you like it? It's a
Okay.
good game.
So,
I'm stealing this from Thumb Cramps, a podcast that I like to watch. Did you
okay.
like it? Was it?
Did you like it? Was it a good game? Okay. Was it a good game? Obviously, it is The Sims. Classic.
What'd you like about it? This is literally what they
Um,
do, like every episode.
so what I liked about it is I just love the simulation aspect. I think it's extremely interesting. I've never played a simulation game quite like this, and I know that is kind of a weird thing to say because this is kind of the OG simulation game, right? Maybe not OG, but
Yeah, I mean
kind
there
of
were
like,
definitely like simulation games before, but this is the one that like blew up.
yeah, this is the one that blew up, and this is the one that also kind of it's very basic, right? Like you have
Right.
basic needs. It very much is simulation. It is a
Hmm.
simulation of like a whole life. You have entertainment, you have social relationships with family, friends, romance. You have a job to go to. You have a house that you can build and do things with. I mean, it's full simulation. You can do a whole bunch of crazy stuff with these characters and with this game. And that being said, it's hard as shit. if you have never played a game like this before, okay? See, everybody else has played The Sims
I'm
growing up
dying
or
here.
whatever.
Oh god.
Everybody
Yeah.
has some story about playing The Sims, okay? Where they're just like, yeah, I used to play The Sims. I downloaded it on the library computer, and they didn't tell me I was allowed to. And then, like everybody has. I don't know. That's not what everybody relates to. But um, but people
Uh,
played The Sims back in the day. Okay, Amber played The Sims
right.
is one
Yeah.
of the examples. My wife played The Sims back in the day. She played it on PS2.
Hmm.
She is telling me that she does not think that this is the one that she played. She seems to remember being able to move your character instead of moving around your environment and clicking on things
There
and
were
stuff
some
like that.
weird spin-offs for different, like I remember I played this Game Boy Advance one,
Yeah.
I think, where you had like
Okay.
direct control of your character instead of, and I'm sure there were
Okay.
some console ones like that too. There were some
Yes.
weird spin-off games for The Sims, so maybe
Okay.
she played one of them
Gotcha.
ones. I
I
don't know.
have played The Sims 2 before, but I never did the actual gameplay. I only
On
ever did
console or on PC? Because I'm
on
not
PC.
positive those two games are exactly the same. Like,
Probably
did
not.
The Sims
Um,
PC have a story mode? Because The Sims PS2 has a story mode, if I remember correctly.
yeah, so there's both modes on the PC version. As far as I can tell, it is actually pretty similar to this.
Okay,
The
good.
way
I
that
mean,
you like
that's how it should be, honestly.
yeah, the way that I'm remembering it, I remember that we did try to me and my girlfriend at the time tried to like start like playing together, and then we immediately stopped. That was like maybe one time, and then she just kind of went off on her own and built her own house and everything, and I was like, oh okay, and that's when I fell out of it. I tried to play around with it a couple of times, and
Wait,
I tried to
are you saying multiplayer and you guys were playing together, like literally?
no, like we sat
Okay.
down
So I
together.
was gonna say that was a thing at one
No,
point. Like there
was
was
it
a
okay?
Sims multiplayer game. I think it was like
Okay,
I don't think it was local multiplayer though. I think it was only like online or whatever. But it
right.
like never took off, which just boggles my mind. Like The Sims to
Yeah.
me has always seemed like the sort of thing where it would be amazing to just have, you know,
Oh,
you have
that's
this
what,
town or a city, maybe just this large body of space, and each person gets a parcel of land to start out with for free, and they can
uh
build up the small house however they want, make their own thing,
yeah,
raise their family, and then players can sell their houses to other players, or you can go buy a new fresh plot of land and sell your old
yeah,
house or whatever, and then you can like
uh,
go when you go to the bar, instead of interacting with a bunch of NPCs, you're just interacting with other players. Like
yeah.
it just seems so perfect. I mean, you would still need some
That's
NPCs
what,
for
like,
like the marriage and raising kids and stuff like that, but
that's what,
like
like, the Second Life was, right?
I don't
Pretty
know.
much
I
a
Second Life to
similar
me, isn't
concept.
that just a sex game? I mean, that's
No, what?
doesn't everyone
I
just play
thought it
Second
was
Life to have virtual sex with other people? I
oh my god. I don't know. The only, exposure I have to Second Life is The Office. There was a bit in The Office where Dwight was playing Second Life, and the joke was in his Second Life, he was also a paper salesman named Dwight Schrute, who looks exactly the same. So, like,
uh,
this is he is peaked. He has reached his goal. And he said, "I'm just playing Second Life because I love my first life so much that I wanted
like
a second one."
I don't know. I'm sure there's probably more to Second Life than that, but every time
Or
I've
at least
ever
maybe there
heard
was.
anybody talk about Second Life, it's
Okay.
always just like, poking
Wow.
fun at people that have virtual sex in Second Life to live out their sex fantasies and things. And usually,
Okay.
they would pair it with like an image of a conventionally unattractive dude or whatever. Some of
Sure.
them have a picture of two conventionally unattractive dudes, one of them
Right.
with a
One
female
of them.
avatar and the other having a male avatar, and they're both like
Right. Yeah.
jerking off to this thing on the screen, but in reality it's just two dudes getting each other off, and it's like,
Oh my gosh.
things like that. And so that, to me, that's what Second Life
NSFW,
has
everyone.
always been. Whereas The Sims is this wholesome family game where you murder people by catching them on fire or drowning them in a pool.
Right.
Like it's
Yeah.
completely,
Or you
you
can
know.
make them woohoo, or you can make them, have
Yeah, but
babies
like
with
in
each
Second Life,
other,
I'm
or
pretty sure like you can
skinny dip,
actually
or
see things.
oh,
Whereas
really?
in like in The Sims, everything's blurred out. I could be wildly wrong about Second Life, just to be clear. I've never played the game. I just seen some
I
memes
haven't
and
either.
things.
I
Like
I hope you're right. I hope you're right, and it ended up on The Office, and they didn't know what it was. They just put it on there, they thought they knew what it was, but secretly everyone was laughing in the background. I hope you're right. Anyway, so The Sims. There
right, yeah,
are
on
2
PlayStation
modes.
2.
Yes.
Two modes.
Initially, when you hit Get a Life, which by the way, the font is Comic Sans. I double checked this time. That is Comic Sans.
Love it. It is legitimately the
Embarrassing.
best font. I would give that font a 5 out of 5.
You would give that font a 5 out
Yeah.
of 5?
It's a 5 out of 5.
I have gotten
Just because everyone hates it so much,
bad
that's why
grades
it's 5 out of
for
5.
using Comic Sans.
Completely undeserved.
You should have graded down on a paper for Comic Sans.
You should have got bonus points, man, like extra credit.
Yeah.
For that creativity of using Comic Sans, because like, come on, who else would possibly think of using Comic Sans?
Here it is, right there.
It's beautiful. It's
right on the screen right now.
Actually, a work of art. I love it.
Anyway,
I'm gonna give this game a 5 out of 5 preemptively, just for using Comic Sans.
5 out of 5 for Comic Sans. Okay, so when you get into the gameplay, okay, so there's Get a Life, there's and then there's neighborhood gameplay. There's like a sort of creative mode. I don't know how it works in this game. Perhaps you can unlock it later. Maybe it doesn't really exist in this version of the game. I'm not sure. When I played The Sims 2, you could do both right away. You could either play the game the way it's kind of meant to be played, quote unquote, meant to be played, right? Where you start out as a sim and then you go out into the world and develop relationships and do all your stuff, versus just building a house and using cheat codes to get a bunch of money.
Okay, minus the cheat codes part, I would argue that's the way most people say is you're meant to play the game, right? You just plop yourself in the world and then you just organically grow. Whereas to me, I was like, as someone who's only ever played The Sims 3 and Sims 4 on PC up until now, and like that spin-off game on GBA or whatever, I was actually more surprised to see that this game had a story mode. I thought that was pretty interesting. Like, actually, that being a thing, this guided experience.
Yeah. So, that's what I did. I picked Get a Life, and I did the guided experience, and the gameplay is very interesting. So, if you live under a rock, you have never been exposed to The Sims. Let me tell you how it works. All right. Let this person who does not know what he's talking about at all explain to you how The Sims works.
Give it to me. Yep.
All right. So you are in this world. You are a sim. You live in the world of Sim. In Sim, people speak Simlish. They spend simoleons.
Yep.
And they are Sims, right? Which is hilarious. I love Simlish. It's great stuff. So
I love watching videos of them getting like pop singers and stuff to sing their songs, but in Simlish, so that they can put it like they hired Katy Perry to sing. I forget which song it was, but to sing it in Simlish, and so they could put it in the game and stuff like that. Like that's hilarious to me. That's great.
Yeah, that is the best. But anyway, you have stats. Okay, you have stats for your character, and you have like a condition for your character, how your
like
character's
RPG
doing.
stats, or just like regular stats. Like, is it attack and defense, or
no? Just regular stats pertaining to your skills. You have like skills for stats, and then you have your conditional stats,
right?
Like how
like
you're
bartering and smithing and
right. Of course, no.
Okay.
So yeah, The Sims is a modern day game. That is the setting.
Right. I mean, you can still barter and smith in modern day.
I suppose you could, yes, but it is not commonly thought of when you say it's set in the modern day. Your experience is to move out of your mother's house, get a job, and
Jonathan, I need to stop you for just a second. I still don't know what stats you have. You said we have stats, but
my stats, man, my
what stats? Yeah, which ones though? I know because I've played the game, but I got to play the bit here.
Stats?
Okay, yeah.
I have mechanical stats.
Okay, that's kind of like smithing or something.
Sort of. It mostly fixes my TV, as far as I know. That's the only thing I can do with it.
Right.
You have some more stats that I don't remember, that I also think pertain to your character and what it's able to do in the world.
Okay.
As far as like getting a job and maintaining your social relationships, like at the beginning, you could pick your zodiac sign, and that kind of set up your base stats, like how shy you were, or outgoing, or neat. The stats that would affect your conditions later in the game.
Yeah. So how do you feel about the argument that The Sims is just a PG RPG game?
Um, no, I think it's different.
Okay.
Because it's not. No, I think it's different than that. I think you're after a different experience is the thing.
Okay. Sure.
Like,
I mean, yeah,
between a simulation game and an RPG, like
I would
if
agree.
you're playing this game, I think maybe it could be a nice introduction if you've
You're
never played an RPG before and you play The
I'm
Sims.
just
Like
I'm just saying you're
like
playing
maybe
through
like
a story, raising your stats so that your character gets better at doing various things, so that you can
true.
collect more resources,
Yeah.
so that you can then raise your stats faster.
I mean,
Like
you could argue
sounds
that that is just
very
the nature
RPG.
of progression in a
Hmm.
video game,
Hmm. Sure, sure. I mean,
and
Mario doesn't have
that is what you're
stats,
after.
and there's progression in that, so I wouldn't say
Mario
Mario's an RPG, but Mario
no.
RPG was an RPG though.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true. That's true. As the
S-
name implies. So
Yes.
anyway,
S-
um
So you get this house, you plop down in it and get a life mode.
yes. And you have conditions. You
Mhm.
are all of your conditions are human conditions, like energy levels, hunger, fun. Um, you have to go to the bathroom. You have to maintain your hygiene.
Hmm.
You have to do all like normal human things.
Right.
That is the condensed sort of experience. It's fun to like simulate normal human, and it's funny because right, you're moving around your life and you're trying to get a job or strike up a relationship with somebody, and then you have to go pee. And that's like, oh, whoops, I gotta go pee. Oh, sorry about that. Um, that I think is like the interesting part, but I love the task management. That's what I think I love the most about this game is you can load up tasks for your character to do and then leave your free will turned on, and your character will kind of automate some basic things, like for instance it'll wash its hands after it uses the toilet, which is necessary because you have to keep your hygiene up, and then you have to make sure you turn around and flush the toilet, right? Because you also have to keep your area clean or else
Right.
your mom gets mad at you
Hate
in
when
the
that
early
happens.
game. But also your condition drops. Like you have a condition for like the cleanliness of your area, your room, and it, w- you have to keep your space clean, or else that goes down. I think that was the first way I died. I'm not sure. Um, and
I I this
that's the other
let's be
thing
honest.
too. If
Everyone
you
knows what The Sims is at
yeah,
this point.
if you
I
bottom
hope you know
out,
what The Sims is.
if you bottom out on one of your things, like it
Right.
game's over. There's
Does it
game
for
over
real?
scenario.
Just game over? I
It's
know
game
like
over.
in The
I had to
Sims 4 they
restart.
added a bunch of new ways for like characters to die. But I
Yeah,
don't I this is my only experience with The Sims is playing a little bit for the PS2 Gauntlet. So I
yeah,
honestly didn't realize you could die in that one.
yeah.
Like from
Christian,
stats bottoming out. I knew you could like burn to death or get electrified or
no.
whatever, but
In my current state, my mother is outside on the lawn, lying asleep in a puddle of her own piss, and I am inside, just trying to get my stats up because I am completely ignorant to the best way to play the game, right? And like progress in the game. So I was trying to do my tasks. You're initially set tasks that you have to
right.
accomplish.
What
They
are they?
tell you that
Do you
you have
remember?
yes, you have to study cooking, you have to study
Okay.
mechanical, and I believe you have to borrow a certain amount of money from your mom. That you have to
Okay. Yeah,
borrow
yeah, yeah. I
$800 from your
vaguely
mom.
remember this. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, so you have to build and develop a relationship with her. Initially, she's mad at you. Okay, so you have to find time to study, to cook for yourself, and then fix the TV.
Right.
Those are the two things that she's mad about. She wants you to cook for yourself. She wants you to fix the TV. And if you can't cook for yourself, you have to order pizza or make your mom order pizza for you, which is the thing you can do. You can actually switch to the mom character and make her do things with
See,
one of the triggers. Um, which is interesting because it's kind of like Amber when she was watching me play it compared it to Overcooked, a game that she's played recently. When you play Overcooked in single player without another person, you can manage what both chefs are doing in a kind of way,
I,
or at least use one chef to kind of help the other hand. Like one chef can
okay.
do the prep work and the other chef can do the cooking, something similar to
I've
that.
never played Overcooked before. I have no
Yeah,
idea what you're talking about.
I'm sorry. It's it's kind of like those oh
I've
shit.
heard of the game, but I've never played it. So
You know, the restaurant, like the restaurant simulators back in the day on like addicting games, you know. It's similar to that, except more involved with actually preparing the food. It's
okay.
more like Surgeon Simulator, kind of. Like you're
I
actually
hate those
hands on.
games. I do.
It's not it's not that kind of
It's just
quality. It's not a frustration game.
so
You
it's
know what I mean?
not that kind of quality. That just makes it sound like this is worse,
It
actually.
is. Let's be honest. I mean, Surgeon Simulator, I Am
Overcooked
Bread.
is worse than Surgeon Simulator. You heard it here
No, the
first,
other
guys.
way, the opposite way. No,
Oh god.
no, no.
All
The
right, Jonathan.
opposite
So
way.
that's what you're
Yeah.
doing though in The
Okay.
Sims. What
Yeah.
did you like about it? What
What
itch
did I
does it
like about
scratch
it?
for you? Yeah.
It scratches an itch of mastering tasks that I find myself incapable of completing perfectly in my own life.
Right. Because I would argue in a
Um,
lot of ways this is the same as like what people say about Animal Crossing or Stardew Valley or
yes,
Harvest Moon, games like that. You're just
exactly.
doing chores all day.
You are.
That's
Mhm.
that's 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 you're playing
But
a
but
game of doing chores. So what enjoyment does that bring you?
you're completing your chores in a very effective and entertaining way, and you're able to do it much better than you could do it in your actual life, and you're
Right.
also able to see immediate results, right? So
Mm.
like in The Sims, if I were to get a job and I were to sell my stuff, I would immediately get the money. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Like I immediately get the money from doing that. And then I can use that money like smartly. I can see sort of everything happening in real time. Oftentimes in your own life, Christian, things can be happening around you outside of your control or attention, and things can feel very overwhelming. But if you were to zoom out, like a video game, see everything from this perspective, load up your tasks in a queue and knock them all down like fucking dominoes, there's nothing more satisfying than that, right? You just
Right.
got all your
Right.
shit done. Now you can sit
Love it.
back and watch your horror on the tiny TV, on the tiny TV card, or you can dance to rap music on the
No,
stereo.
I agree. I agree. It's just I know
Yeah,
that's like a common argument. Like
yeah,
what's the fun of doing chores? But no, I
uh-huh,
do 100% agree. Is there
right.
anything so have you played other Sims games or just The Sims 1 on PS2
I
and Sims 2
on
and that
on
one on
on
PC?
PS2, no. I have
Just in
played The
general
Sims,
though, have you played any of the other ones?
no. And in
Okay.
general, I've played The Sims now on the PlayStation 2, and then I've played The Sims 2 on PC.
I was
Um,
just curious if there was
I
anything
own The
that like
Sims
maybe you
2
liked more
on.
about this one than the others or
Oh,
anything like
okay.
that.
I own The Sims 2
Okay.
on. I still own it on PC, actually. I have it on, my Origin account.
Just haven't
They
really
did
played it.
yeah, they
Okay.
and I own it on PS2 as well. I
Is
picked
there
that one up.
anything you didn't like about it then?
Oh, yeah, initially, I think there is a bit of a learning curve that I think they could have helped. I'm sure that you'll disagree because I know you hate hand-holding in video games, but
To a
I
degree, man.
think
Playing these PS2 games that I've been playing on the Gauntlet recently, some of them need a bit more of it, to be honest. But
yeah,
I'm
because
sorry. Go
like,
ahead. Yeah.
initially, I think it might have been nice to just have, like, a tutorial stage with no consequences, even if it wasn't
Mm-hmm.
the first level. Like
Okay.
maybe leave this
See,
experience how it is, and then
it's really
add like a
interesting.
tutorial because I just didn't
Okay.
know where to start. I felt so overwhelmed
It's
because
so
you have
interesting to me hearing you say that because to me, as someone who started on Sims 3 and played Sims 4 a fair bit,
uh-huh.
as to my memory, which is notoriously bad, I don't
Mhm.
remember there being a story mode. So when I first played The
Okay.
Sims on PS2, I was like, wow, this is really nice. It kind of teaches
It's
you
not
how to
a
play the game.
oh, okay. Yeah, it's not like a story mode per se on the other games, but you still like create a character and plop them
Right.
down in the world, and
But
you
you
have all
don't
this
have a
stuff to manage.
mom helping you out.
Oh,
You're
right.
just
Yeah,
plop down. You just buy a property or build one from
that's true.
scratch, one
Right.
or the other, and then you
And
just
then it's
play. There's
empty.
no guidance at all.
Right.
Whereas
Okay.
this here gives you missions. Do this, now do this. Hey, you completed these tasks. Now you can move on to the next house and you move to this next house and suddenly there's
Right.
all these new items and et cetera, et cetera.
That
So
makes
I would
sense.
have made the opposite argument that this game was the best introduction to a Sims like game.
Oh, okay.
Um,
Okay. So
but that's from my
I would have been
perspective.
mega fucked if I if I started on The
Possibly.
Sims 3 or
I
4.
don't know. I
I
don't
don't
know,
know.
man.
I think it was just really difficult to balance all of the things that I
Okay.
was trying to balance, and I think I incorrectly made some assumptions that
Okay.
might have been I may not have had
Detrimental.
that. Yeah, I may not have made those assumptions if there was like a tutorial mode. If they just like
Okay.
said, "This is The Sims. Hey, these are your stats. You don't have to make them all green all the time, but you should try to keep up with them and stuff like that." You know what I mean? Because I was trying to say like well, if I make my stats all green, not my stats, my conditions, whatever you want to call them.
Right.
If I make them all green, if I fill them all the way up, then they're going to deplete slower, and then
No,
that will leave me
no,
time to
no.
do my task. That's initially what my thought process was.
You want to
Like,
know the secret on how you get more time to complete your other tasks?
yeah,
You get better
you don't.
stuff. This
Right.
game is all about getting better stuff.
I've seen that because
Yes.
I did something different before this episode that I haven't done with another episode.
Mhm.
Just because I thought that this game was deserving of it. I watched somebody play the game before we recorded tonight, and I watched it on double speed so I could get as much as I could. And this gentleman in 30 minutes made it so he completed this first area in probably 6 minutes. He
Yeah.
was out of the
Yeah.
house. And he was doing some kind of exploits when he got the next house. I don't know what he was doing, but he was like selling his wallpaper. It looked like he stripped down
That's
his
not an
wall.
exploit. That's something you can do. You
He
go into
stripped down.
build buy mode and you can
Yeah,
sell parts of your house.
yeah, but it was like it looked like he was selling the same wall over and over again, and he was just getting money for it.
Maybe he was doing an exploit then. Like it is perfectly reasonable to believe that a game made 20 years ago, that's a port of a PC game, might have
True.
a couple exploits in it. I can see
Yeah.
that being a thing for sure. Is there anything
Yeah.
else you didn't like about it though? So you had a bit of a hard time getting into it, like figuring out what you were supposed
Oh,
to
yeah.
do. But were there
I
any
think
other
there was
problems that you had?
no, not really. I think there was a learning curve. Oh, and the pizza guy kept leaving. I couldn't figure out why initially I couldn't get my pizza.
Did you
'Cause I kept
greet the guy when he came to your
I
door?
did. I kept trying
That
to,
is
but here's the
weird.
thing. I figured out the fast forward function eventually,
Okay.
right? And I was like, "Oh, how useful is that?" So let's line up my tasks and then let's do the thing. So I would try to manage one of my other things while I was waiting for the pizza because it said the pizza takes an hour. Bullshit, by the way. Does not take an hour. Takes about 35 minutes. You
Mm.
can watch the in-game fucking clock. They're liars. And I thought I had time to do one of my other things or make one of my fill one of my green bars, right? So I would try to order the pizza and then go to the bathroom.
Right.
And
Okay.
then while I was in the bathroom, make sure I flush the toilet, clean the toilet, wash my hands, do my shit. And then when I come out, the pizza guy should be here because that should take about that amount of time or something, right? And then without fail, I would zoom out, I would move the camera around, and I would click on the pizza guy and click on greet. That was my next task. And my character walks outside, and by the time he walks outside, the pizza guy has decided to fuck off. And he just turns around in front of my character and walks the other direction. And then I keep
I
clicking
love
in
it.
front
It's
of the pizza
perfect.
guy, telling my guy to go there, and then trying to click on the pizza guy, and he wouldn't
Uh,
talk to me. He
it's
didn't
too
like
late.
it. He was
It's too
like, "No,
late.
you know
You
what?
took too
You
long.
didn't come to the door in 30 seconds. I'm not giving you a pizza."
How
And
dare
then
you?
so the other thing I would try to do was raise my fun because my character kept telling me he was too depressed to study. So I would try to raise my fun by watching the TV or dancing to the radio. And then I would try to like line it up so I order my pizza and then dance to the radio and then I'm close enough, right? I'm closer now. I'm not behind a closed door in another room. I should be able to get there in time. And then I wouldn't. And then I got I got my schedule backwards with my mom. So if you try to go to sleep and
Yeah.
something else is on, you
Yeah.
can't go to sleep.
No. Yeah, because
So
it's too loud. Unless you have your own room. In the
yeah,
starter house, obviously you don't. But if you have like your bed in its own room or whatever, it's fine if there's
yeah,
music playing somewhere else in the house.
yeah,
But yeah, you can't have the radio blasting and be sleeping at the same time,
which was
unless
hilarious
curiously
to me.
you're taking a nap on the couch. I think that works okay.
Right.
But yeah.
But yeah, I got an opposite schedule with my mom, and I was trying to sleep, and she just kept watching TV, and I would get up and turn it off, and then she would get up and turn it back on, and
You know, the best thing about all of that, like you kind of have to be on the opposite schedule of your mom in that first starter house because you and your mom can't sleep in the same bed together and there's only
true.
one bed. Now, you
Yeah.
could go into build buy mode and get another bed, but I
Mhm.
don't know if you have enough money in the beginning of the game to just buy another bed and plop down in the
Yeah,
house.
because you can't
Like,
sell her shit, right?
you might be able to. I honestly don't remember.
Yeah, like I
I
didn't
don't know if
try,
I
but
tried. Yeah.
that's another thing that I learned by watching the other guy play it was the what you can do in the build buy mode.
Yeah.
Um, because I had clicked on that and was immediately just kind of overwhelmed. I was like, I don't know
I
what to do
think
with all this.
as the game progresses, I think it gives you like add this to the house, like buy a new game console for the house or whatever,
Okay.
or get a coffee maker to help you stay awake longer. I think it kind of slowly introduces you to those elements, but you
Okay.
gotta make your way out of the first house first, to get those
Mhm.
quests, if you will, because this is
Okay.
an RPG at the end of the day. You have quests. You got to
Right.
complete your quests, and
Right.
you got to get up
Mhm.
your smithing skills so that you can fix the TV and all those things. But so yeah, so you liked the game
I
um
did. I would
because it's
definitely.
an escapism sort of thing.
Yes.
You disliked the game because you didn't really know what you were doing
Yeah.
most of the time, and that damn pizza guy is a pain in the ass.
Yes.
What would you overall? Would you play another level, Jonathan? Would you play it again?
I would definitely play just one more level of The Sims, especially
Are you
after
going
watching
to?
that guy play it. I think
Curious
I
if you're
will.
going to. Okay. That's really
I
cool.
think I actually will. Especially after watching that guy play his version of the game, and
Right.
just to see how quickly you really can progress, and how you can just kind of move through
Mhm.
everything, and how much more you can do when you get new property and new things.
Right.
So
Yeah. Yeah. The game
I
definitely
definitely.
gives you more freedom as you go along, for sure. For sure.
So
If you had to rate it, Jonathan, what would you give it? Do you
I I would give the first Sims. I would give it probably a 4 out of 5.
4 out of
Just like
5 on the
yeah,
PS2?
just like you. 4 out of
Nice.
5
Nice.
Sims on the PS2, because I think if you were a player on the PS2 that was around our age when this was coming out, came out in 2002, so I would have been 8. If you were 8 when this came out on the PS2, oh, this would have been perfect. You would have loved
I
this.
would have been so fucking lost, to be honest, at 8 years old playing this, man.
Same.
Give me my
I would
Marios.
have.
That's easy. I can handle that. All my people would be
Yeah.
dead.
Amber
But
loved this game when she was 8 years old. But yeah,
I
I
started playing Sims when I was probably like 15 or something, and I still to
yeah,
this day can only handle having like 2 characters at a time, or I'm just fucked. Like
exactly.
I can't. I love the
Yeah.
Sims games, but I'm not good at them. 4 out of 5. Yeah, I mean,
I like.
I agree in a lot of ways. I really
Mhm,
liked The Sims 1. I think honestly I enjoyed playing The Sims 1 on PS2 more than I enjoyed playing the Sims 3 on PC because
mhm,
one, my PC at the time sucked when I used to play that
mhm.
game, and two, I really like the addition of the story mode here.
Yeah,
I think that's amazing,
it
and I
is.
think that should be more of a thing in the other Sims titles.
It's kinda like the board game, the game of life, you know?
No, I
Yeah, it's like the board
okay,
game.
yeah. I
You
mean,
never played
yeah.
Life?
It's kind
Game
of
of
like
Life.
Castlevania if you really look at it.
Sure.
It's pretty much the same game.
Game of Life, the board game, if you
I
never
know
played
what
that.
you're talking about, but how is this like the game of life? This is
What?
this is nothing like the game of life.
You
The only way that this is like the game of life is that you're a person doing things and then you die.
what do you mean? You get a job in this game, you get a job in the game of life, you can go to college, you can choose, like, career
Do you go
paths, you
to
can do that in the
do you
game
go
of
to
life.
college in The Sims on PlayStation 2,
I
Jonathan?
haven't yet, but you could.
You can't, as far as I'm aware. You can
You
in The
can't.
Sims 4, but as far as I'm aware, you can't go to college in The Sims 1. I could be completely wrong. I've only played 2 hours of the game. But Jonathan, how many
Someone
times in
cool.
the board game, the game of life, how many times have you been like, up, guys, we need to stop. My character here has to go take a pee. Or, he's a little too depressed to go to work today, so I'm just going to skip this tile and maybe go over to this one that
Every time.
lets me have some fun. I don't.
About God, every time. No, I just meant as in the sense that, like, this is a simulation of real life.
Sure, sure.
Like, it's like you're progressing through your life doing things, and you're supposed to be going and getting a job and making money, and stuff like that. That's what I meant.
I give
Um,
your review of The Sims on PlayStation 2 a 2 out of 5. Just for that comparison.
that's
I
fair.
was into it. I was
Uh,
into it. It was good. And then that comparison, you just lost me entirely. Plus, I really hated my mom in this game actually, so I might take it down to a 3,
yes,
just
yes,
because the mom sucks. Major
that's
balls.
fair. Yeah, I don't get. It's rude. She's rude. What a rude
She is.
person. I should
Sometimes
leave her
she
where
goes
she
to the bathroom in front of me, and I don't.
she
I
does.
just like,
Yeah.
mom. Like, I know we're family, but I'd prefer if you
Yeah.
didn't just strip
Well,
down and
she
take a
goes.
piss while I'm chilling
Not
in
only
here.
does she go to the bathroom in front of you, but she leaves her pants on.
Yeah, and
Like,
she's nasty. She never cleans up after herself. and then she yells at you for the place being a mess. Like, okay, I mean, that's probably like a lot of people's moms. I mean, shout out to moms. You guys are great, except for when you're not.
Except for when you're using the bathroom in front of us in your pants.
Yeah.
You realize how much of a lunatic you look like sitting down on the toilet and pissing straight through your pajamas?
Wait, is that not how you... Scared. That's not how you pee? I'm very confused. Well, anyways, guys, that's been the Just One More Level podcast. I don't think we have anything else to say about these games tonight. That's vaguely the new format. Things are going to change a little bit as we go on, but maybe, and every once in a while we may do the regular format too, but maybe a little bit more brief, just so that the podcast release isn't an hour long. But this, I mean,
just
the
like
thing
nice
is,
round hour probably.
We normally
we're gonna be shooting for the episode itself.
Yeah, we normally talk for like 2 hours straight on Twitch is the thing. So we were like, we might as well just have more of a conversation about these games than just doing the thing. So we're introducing a little bit of a review element and a bit of banter between the two of us too, a little bit more just fucking around and less.
That's what podcasts are like if you go listen to
just having fun. And that's one of the things why again, shout out to Thumb Cramps. I've been listening to them a lot lately at work. Don't tell anybody. But it's and I realized that like it is there's I grew up on video game reviews, right, where you just kind of talk about the video game. But it seems like the format these days really is to just kind of bullshit a little bit while talking about video games, and that's more or less what we were doing anyways. But I think I realized that maybe it's okay to bullshit more. Like,
I think it is, and especially because we're not Attack of the Show. You know?
No, and we're not trying to be professional. We don't ever expect our podcast to be at the level of the other quote unquote professional podcast shows or anything like that. This isn't how we make our living. We're just two guys on the internet having fun. So why not just be two guys on the internet having fun with it? And if other people enjoy it, then awesome, dude. Follow us at what's our YouTube channel? Just One More Level or Just One More Level podcast? Just One More podcast. I don't remember what our YouTube channel is. Check out the links below wherever you're watching this at, and you can find our YouTube channel and find us on your podcast platform of choice, and come watch me and us on Twitch. Stream all the Steam, because that's where we do other stuff at.
Stream all the Steam. Thank you everyone so much for watching and listening. You don't have to, but you do, and we appreciate it. Christian, what else can they do?
You can just be kind to each other, honestly. That's it. Just be decent human beings and come back and watch us every week, or we'll be very disappointed in you. Not really. People have lives. It's fine. I get it if you can't, but if you can though, that'd be cool. We're signing off though. Goodbye. Have a good night.
Bye-bye, everyone.